Hi, folks, welcome to Food Therapy. So, today, doing something a little different. We're going to try out this bottle of Chivas Regal, although I've tried it many times before, but I want to share my opinion with you on this. Now, depending on where you are, as a whiskey drinker, everyone has a natural progression. You go from, you start off at a blender's pride or at a royal stag level at, when you're in college because they're cheaper. And then you naturally, proceed upwards, say Black Label, Chivas Regal, then the single malts and so on and so forth. Chivas Regal has kind of somewhat hit a sweet spot for me in terms of price to value to the actual taste, which is very, very smooth. Depending on where you are in the country, so I'm in Gurgaon, which is in Haryana, and for the last year or so, this has been available under 2000 rupees. Sometimes it's about 2000, sometimes even 1800, sometimes 21 or 2200, but in that ballpark of 2000 plus minus 10%. So what that really means is that I think for that price point, it's a pretty good whiskey because if your average black dog teachers, etc., they also run you 1300, 1400. A Jameson is about 1500. So you add in 300-400 rupees, and this is pretty good for the price. Although this is the 12-year version, as you go further in terms of age, you get 15 and 18 years respectively. You add, I think, about 2000 on the price. Now, there are always going to be tons of different ways to actually have the whiskey. Some people would prefer it with soda, some will have it with water, some would have it neat, and some people who I don't like very much would be having it with Coke. But I'm going to make an average drink that I would make. So this, I have a measure here. So it's 30 ml on one side and 60 ml on the other. So I would typically fill up to 60 ml, but just a little less than that. So somewhere about there. This is about the 50 ml mark is what I like to call it, which is just about right. So this is a glass. I like to use this because it's a little wide down below, and then we just empty it out. Now, some may like to have it on the rocks or neat. I don't like either, simply because when you have it with ice, the initial flavor you get is pretty good, but then as the ice dilutes, the flavor kind of vanishes. Neat also I'm not a fan of because then it's a little more it's too much torture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of water to this, and I just add a little bit of water. That's about it, and maybe a little more actually. Yeah, so that's about the kind of water I'd like to add. So this actually helps retain the flavor. The real ultimate flavor of the beverage is retained, as you can see. That's kind of what it looks like. And that's what it should look like for you. I mean, if you want a good measurement of this, you're looking at about 50 ml of the drink and maybe about 100 to 120 ml of water. And this is room temperature water. It's not cold. Cold water also I've seen kind of changes the taste of the alcohol. Room temperature water just maintains it. So now, I don't know how they do it I've seen some YouTube videos where they swirl it and they taste it, but I'm going to give you a real taste test, straightforward. It's very smooth, and coming from a person like me who's spent half their life on Blender's Pride and Royal Challenge, Royal Stag, and so on and so forth, something like this is it's very smooth, and that's the main point. When you drink this, it should not feel like torture. I mean, we've not put that much water. A lot of people I know would put that much whiskey, then top it up with ice and top it up with water and then have it, and there'd practically be no whiskey left to taste. So the taste, it's a malty, peaty, smoky taste. It's not very light. If you're looking for something a little more floral, then there are a few single malts I can recommend. But if you're looking for something with a nice smoky, malty kind of taste, then this is the drink for you. Again, just keep it in mind that we're talking of a budget of in and around 2000 rupees. I mean, the higher you go, things can get much better. But at about 2K, I think this is a real good whiskey. Real, real good. I'll take one more sip, then let's have a final discussion. Yeah, it's nice and peaty. I mean, I'd say about 3 or 4 of these drinks that would give you a very, very nice surur. and something that would make you very happy for the rest of the evening. Simply because I think these kind of whiskies, assuming that this is in fact bottled in Scotland and not somewhere locally in Haryana, these kind of whiskies, they kind of designed not to give you hangovers per se, which is what you would see if you have any of the slightly cheaper brands. I don't know, but typically they give you much worse hangovers than this. I don't know what the science is behind that. Maybe it's just psychological. You feel like you're having an expensive drink, so you won't have a hangover. I don't know. But yeah, this in my mind is a solid FT score, or a drink therapy DT score of 8.5 on 10. There are very few reasons to complain. I just find it a little too strong for my liking. Although I've added less water, but then that malty, that smoky taste is a bit much. I would prefer something just toned down just a little bit. But other than that, I think it's a great drink. And really, I mean, if you're in the market to have something in this ballpark, 2K 2500, I would pick this over Black Label any day of the week and twice on Sunday. This is a far better drink than Black Label. Black Label, I mean, you go to any wedding, they serve you Black Label, but really, Black Label does not match up to this in the quality, in the smoothness, in any way. Double Black, yes. Gold Label, of course, but straight away, if you're doing a Chivas Regal versus Black Label comparison, it's Chivas Regal all the way. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.